Welcome to Libertarians Drinking Coffee Live. So happy to have you here this afternoon. And a very special show, I think. I haven't done a Libertarians Drinking Coffee Live in a while. It's been several weeks. But I actually found somebody who I thought was kind of interesting. I thought something interesting. Someone who's trying to make a big difference. I thought he was just trying to run for Congress. But this man is not playing games. This man is actually trying to make the big move, running as a Libertarian in the great state of Maryland, the man himself, Mike Scott. How are you, sir?
I'm well. And you?
I'm doing great. I am very glad you're here. For those of you who want to see what Mike is doing, you can head over to his website at MIKESCOTT2024.com. So I got to ask you, why would you punish yourself by running for U.S. Senate? There's a lot of things you can do. You have chosen punishment. That's fine. Look, I've run for governor. I understand.
Yeah.
I did, but it was punishment. Why are you punishing yourself by running for Senate? Please.
I'd say ego, but it's actually more than that. I heard an old quote once that said, societies thrive when old men plant trees that they'll never enjoy the shade of. And it hit me because I heard something else that said, if all you do I might slip a cuss here and there, so don't mind me.
Go ahead.
But they said if all you do is work really hard so that your kids have a better life, all they're going to do is work really hard so that their kids have a better life. And so I decided that I needed to do something so audacious that it allowed them to dream, and it allows others to dream. People who look like me, people who look like you. You ran for governor of freaking New York. And by the way, I'd have voted for you if I was in New York.
Thank you.
And honestly and truly, if I did not want to run for Senate. My goal was to get to a level where I could have enough residual income coming in that I could find a nice island someplace and I could sit on the beach sipping margaritas and looking at senoritas. And that's all I wanted to do. Part of me, that's still all I want to do.
Sounds good to me too. I'm with you on this one.
But nothing gets fixed if I do that. And that's the thing, is the people we rely on to fix it. People want to eat, sleep, screw, spend time with their children, enjoy their lives, right? They go to work because they have to. They want government to work. They don't want to be messed with. They don't want to look at it. That's why they can't stand the explanations.
Let me push back a bit. Back. You could have decided, hey, I'm going to run for city council. You could have decided, hey, I'm going to become an activist and go yell at Capitol Hill or whatever, right? There were other things you could, and people do, right?
People do.
Lots of people do these types of things. But you chose, this is big game. This is Senate.
Is huge.
You chose that. Why that one is what I'm asking.
Well, Barack Obama and Jesse Ventura both showed me that the chief executive was a powerful position, but they need a legislature that is willing to work with them in order to make it happen. And as far as why, again, I started off with ego, but I can do the job. That's the bottom line. That's the question to ask is, can you do the job? What makes you think you can do the job? I've got a master's in public administration. I am literally the state that everybody was afraid of. That old line from Pulp Fiction, you're the weak and I'm the tyranny of evil men. I literally retired from the military and I did work in the government and I've done contract work. I've seen the system from the inside. When I was at the Pentagon, I did the Pentagon for 2 tours. The first time I was like, holy crap, is this really what it's about? And when I wanted to know what the PPBE Commission, Planning, Programming, Budgeting, and Execution, when I wanted to know what they were doing, I went to a young lady I worked with who's actually on the commission now. I worked with her when I was a lieutenant 100 years ago, and she was a 9 or an 11, a government civilian. And I said, yo, what's going on? I know the people in government. I worked at Office of Government Ethics, I went across agencies looking at government ethics programs and talking to their councils. I know the people who actually do the work. I've sat there, and when I was never the guy sitting in the chair, but I was the guy sitting behind the chair, handing them notes and handing speeches.
So I feel like what you're telling me is what a lot of veterans tell me. I'm a veteran too. A lot of veterans do the same thing.
Hoorah.
They can't believe the amount of corruption. They can't believe the amount of waste. They can't believe the amount of all the. Is that a big part of your platform or no?
And the people we are trying to, and the people we hire to do the job aren't doing the job. But my platform is simple. My whole agenda is freedom and liberty. Swear to God, there's the right way, the wrong way, the Air Force way, and my way. I like things my way, but I know my way is not right for everybody. So my entire agenda is to make things more free for everyone, because to an oppressed people, freedom is the closest thing we get to liberty. So my actual priorities are healthcare, education, equity, economy, and environment. And
Wow.
and those are for a reason, because when I was in the military, you know, they used to talk about systems of systems. And when you try to affect foreign policy, they called it harmonizing the dime. DIME, diplomatic, information, military, and economic. So those are the instruments of national power. And I tried to figure out what the instruments of freedom are. And you have to be able to heal yourself, or you can't enjoy liberty. You have to be able to have your economic situation okay, because when you're living in survival, you allow these idiots in DC that are draining the country to continue doing it.
Desperate people do desperate things. You are correct.
People do, and these folks seem to be selling us out for money. And if you guys knew where I came from, you'd know that where I am is higher than I ever thought I could aspire to be. So when I tell you that, you know, I dig money, but I'm not emotional about the money, you can believe it, because there should be an old movie line. I forget. I think it was Legends of the Fall. They said governments don't have wisdom or mercy. They have rules. The human beings in the system, the politicians, are supposed to put in the wisdom and mercy, and they're not. They are selling us out, doing constant wars for the past 23 years. 23 years we've been at war.
Let me move on if I could. I want to, because you're preaching to the choir. Libertarians are watching.
I will talk about this stuff all day. Usually I'm preaching to folks that, you know, aren't in violent agreement.
Right now you're preaching to the choir. So I want to move to another piece then. You said healthcare. That is a big deal for a lot of people. You are correct, right? And most people, sadly, have gone to one side or the other. It's like, shut it all down, or Medicare for all. Like, that's like what everyone's going to those two sides, right? And clearly that can't be the only two answers, right? So how do we move that forward in a place that makes any sense?
Okay, so this discussion can go on for hours by itself. Yep. I am retired military. I qualify for TRICARE. I am a welfare queen. I get really good healthcare insurance. And it is taxpayer subsidized, and I pay in a thing. So I know that socialized medicine can work. However, anything involving the government is inefficient, and there are problems with it. Giving people access to the insurance can help things, because anytime the government needs to purchase healthcare, the state of Maryland, single payer system where they negotiate, they don't let us do it as a whole, but anytime they need to pay for it, it's a single payer system. Now, am I saying I want socialized medicine? No, because a third of any institution, their finances, you were business, you know, that's personnel, right?
Yep.
And you figure a third of it is because of government interference due to banking and insurance interference. And so you got a third of the cost of insurance, or of your healthcare, that should actually be going towards, you know, healing people. The most important part of any healthcare place isn't the patients. It's not the doctors. It's the administration.
Let me touch that for a second, if I could. First of all, I want to ask you a small favor again. Can I get you to shift yourself to your right or your camera to your left?
Gotcha.
There we go. Now we're good. All right. But what you're saying, if I hear you, is you're not saying that socialized medicine or even socialism is necessarily bad. And I bring this up because I've done this before in libertarian audiences. I'll walk up and I'll say, how many people here are against universal health care? And everyone's hand will come up. And I'll say, no, you're not. Because if I told you that I had a system that allowed the private market and charity and other groups to get together and voluntarily cover everybody, would you be against it? And they go, well, no. What you're against is a government-funded and government-run monopoly.
Yes.
That's what you're against. So if I hear you, what you're saying is socialized medicine may work for people. Sure, it's possible, absolutely. But we don't want a government-run monopoly. Am I getting that correct or no?
Well, it's more nuanced than that. I really think without the government interference, that it would be like the old days where you had docs coming up to your house with bags and everything is still working. We had a pretty good system before all this interference. And you're going to say things are more complicated now. It's a much larger problem. And I agree 100%, except we pay 3 times as much as the next most expensive,
Yes.
2 to 3 times as much. And all of them have socialized medicine. I am still not saying socialized medicine. I would love to wipe it all out and get government out of it completely. But we also deal with what is. There's
Correct.
what I can impact, there's what I would like, and then there's what is and what I think I can actually get through.
Right.
And Bernie Sanders said it 100 years ago, we're already paying for it, we're not getting it. And that's because of corruption from our politicians. We are paying per capita 2 to 3 times as much on healthcare, and we're not getting the outcomes. We're getting worse outcomes, actually. And could socialized medicine work? Yes. Is that the best idea? No, because whenever you add government, it's going to be inefficient, full of corruption. And we have, 2.7 or 2.9 million federal employees. So we got a lot of mouths to feed. Whenever money goes up and has to come back down, they got to take a tax off of it. So
Got it. Okay,
push everything down to the lowest level.
You touched on healthcare, and I appreciate that touch on healthcare. And again, if anybody wants to go further, you can just grab Mike over at his website, MIKESCOTT2024.com. You can go over there. You can donate if you want to. Reach out to him, have a conversation, ask him to come on your show if you got a podcast. You can support him any way possible. Please do that. MIKESCOTT2024.com. Go ahead, Mike.
You did mention fundraising. I loathe fundraising. I loathe the idea of it. I went to a Democratic debate. I was going to jump on the stage and mess with them in grandstand, see if I can get arrested, make a nuisance of myself. But it was Jawada, also Brooks, and Trone. I asked the moderator how they got on stage, and he said they met fundraising thresholds.
Yep.
So you don't get the best ideas. You get the best ideas by the people who are either rich
Correct.
or bought. That's it. You get them rich or bought. You don't even get the best ideas, and that's a terrible way. I've had people come up to me and go, Mike, I write checks. I've had friends of mine who own businesses go, Mike, what do you need? And I loathe the idea of a money-powered popularity contest.
To my audience right now, please ignore what Mike just said and give him money.
It is.
Ignore what he said and give him money.
But it is a popularity contest.
No, Mike, hold on. You just said something like 5 minutes ago. You said, what is? Well, what is you need money. That's what is.
What is the internet is flat. What is I can make a bunch of videos and go out there and somebody will catch it, because my actual campaign strategy is to go like this to old videos of Ron Paul and point to what still is legitimate and is still a concern. And my arms get tired from pointing so hard. So
I love it. So point and take money. Don't
give money. And take money. You know what? I'll take money if I have to, but I loathe it. And the idea that it's necessary is what's wrong with this country, because when you make it a popularity contest powered by money, you get idiots in DC who can be bought by money.
But let's be clear about something, Mike, and I want my audience to hear this too, not just you, but my audience.
Yeah.
You're right. I love where your heart is. And the fact that you don't want money makes me want to give you more.
But
so you should take money.
But we have to deal with what is.
Reasons why. The many reasons why. Number one, mainstream is still important. Even though I hate it, it's still important because mainstream people vote. That's true. And the people who vote are still watching things like CNBC and Fox News and blah, 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 CNN. They're still watching those things. And they still see value in those places. Those places take you seriously when you raise money. They just do.
It is true. It is true. Yes. But I figured the odds of me going up and slapping Mitch McConnell for usurping the judiciary might catch me a little of attention too. And I only got to do it once. And I'm fairly sure I can get away with it once. Sorry, I shouldn't say things like that. It's inflammatory and mostly a joke.
Well, but it doesn't mean for my FBI agent who's listening, he does not mean physical slap. So my NSA agent who's listening, he means a figurative slap. Not literal. Just so I don't want cops coming to your door today.
In 2024, let's face it, the people who raise the most money usually win. I'm a libertarian. You said it when you were running for governor. You said if you raised 2 million, you were going to win. You didn't need the 15 or 20 they were needing. And that's the thing. If in 2024, you still got probably 65,000 people who are willing to vote for Donald Trump. You probably have million. You probably have 70 million or so people still willing to vote for Joe Biden. And I'm sitting there looking at them like, which one of them raised the debt by trillions? Both.
Right.
You can add Obama and Bush into this too. Which one of them pulled back the Patriot Act? None of them. Which one?
Right.
All of them have the same policies. You can say whatever you want, but irrespective of who gets in office, the same things are happening. All of them bomb Yemen.
Yep.
All of them make our lives unsafe. That's the reason for immigration. People say they hate immigration. They hate the welfare state, which pays the immigrants to come here, which, by the way, doesn't really pay the immigrants. That money goes to the landlords, which goes to the banks. Everything they do goes to the banks. And we hate our foreign policy, which makes us less safe. Fundamentally less safe.
So let me go to a couple comments I already got. John Clark says, I'd pay to see that. Mitch needs it. Okay. So, again, not literal, figuratively. Yes. Joe the OP says, Mike Scott 2024. You have a fan who's watching. So that's good. There we go.
I mean, I just don't get how we're in this position. In 2024, I don't get how we're in this position.
Yes.
I just don't.
Kip Degenerate says, Mike is on point. There we go. You got some fans. I like that.
But I mean,
Shamrocka says, great convo. Good time for a coffee break.
Good time.
There we go. All right. And I do have coffee. This is Libertarians Drinking Coffee Live. I do have coffee. Yes.
This is coffee. This is coffee. I didn't put any tequila in it either.
Nah, it's a little early for that, but later. All good.
Theoretically.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to let you know people are talking.
No. The thing is, okay, so the Libertarian Party of Maryland are amazing, and they're there to try to help me whenever I need, and they keep asking what you need. And when I was in the military, I started off a computer programmer. When I was enlisted as an officer, I was an analyst. What they did was they gave me lots of information, and I was supposed to figure out the future. And I'm talking 25, 30 years in the future. It was strategic planning. We were paid to be wrong, but we were paid to look at a whole bunch of different things and try to figure out what could happen in the future. And again, we were wrong because nobody thought of podcasting as a job even. Holy cow. So things change, and they change dramatically. But looking forward at the way things are going, the Fed is going to crash. The dollar is going to not be a reserve currency. We've taken down half of our strategic oil reserves. We're still running our National Guard like they're reservists. Without a declaration of war, we are doing all the same stuff. And now in 2007, we were $9 trillion in debt. 2022, we were $30 trillion in debt. And now we're 34.3, and they're hungry for more. Good Lord.
They can't wait. They're hungry.
Oh, God. And I keep
ask my audience for a second. Guys, if you like what you're hearing, please click the like button. The like button does matter. Please click it as much as you can. I have to get past the Al Gore rhythms.
And share.
Gotta get past them. Please click. It does matter, guys. I know it matters. Please do it. Also, please follow Mike at MikeScott2024.com. You can also follow him on Twitter if you want to at MikeScott1, the number 1 word. And the information is in the description on YouTube and also on Facebook. So let me move on to the next piece you brought up. You brought up the economy also. Right?
Yes.
This is the piece that everyone's talking about. My groceries are too expensive. And that's what everyone's talking about. How does a libertarian who's running for Senate affect that at all? What do we do?
Well, so if I get my way, I pull a lot of those troops back. So I have several things, but your local guys impact your day-to-day more. What I can do in the Senate is stop sending out massive amounts of money, increasing the debt by trillions, which lets the Fed print out more money at interest, which deflates your money, which is the tax you feel when you go to the freaking grocery store, and 3 bags of groceries are $90.
Right. 3. I wish I got 3 for 90.
I go to Aldi because they're cheaper now.
Okay, there we go. Yes. I'm in New York City. I get 1 bag for that. It's crazy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it gets worse every time I turn around. And it's
okay. But you also brought up one more thing, equity. That is a very generic term. In other words, everyone's equity is different from someone else's equity. How do you handle that?
So I cannot, nobody can promise equality of outcomes. What we can try to do is give everybody the same starting point. And one of the things that my website talks about is the dream deferred. And I giggle about it because
the dream deferred. I know that.
I swore to support and defend this silly thing 100 million times, right? Officer, enlisted, government civilian. And I look at Section 9, and the people who follow me have seen it, but it basically says in Section 9 of the Constitution, go look it up, that the Congress couldn't prohibit migration or forced migration or immigration of people to the states until 1808. And that was about 20 years after this thing was written. And what that means is for 20 years, we couldn't outlaw slavery. And according to this document, couldn't charge more than $10 a head for them. When they said all men are created equal, they didn't mean me. They didn't mean you. It means me now. But we have a little bit of a, we had a little bit to catch up on. And people go, oh, well, that's a zillion years ago. Well, then after the Reconstruction period, we got rid of military enforcing the federal laws. So what followed was Jim Crow, because nobody was down there to stop them, and black folks were gaining too much power. This is why I always say to an oppressed people, limited government is freedom, because every time you add government to black folks, it's a shit show. I don't know why.
It doesn't go well.
It never has. And that is even to poor whites, because y'all are in the same position we are. They give 3 more crumbs to poor whites, and then they have us fighting each other over, hell, they just called Brandon Scott the DEI mayor. They literally had a tragedy. And, you know, I think it was a tragedy. I'm following it. I have some friends who work the docks, and they're sending me information on it. It seems, by all things I've heard so far, a legit tragedy. And they called that man the DEI mayor because he's young and black, like he was driving the damn boat.
He's like 60% black or something, right? Isn't Baltimore like something like that, 60% black or something?
Yeah, Baltimore has a lot of black folks in it. I don't know the actual.
Well, if there's a DEI mayor, he'd be a white guy, wouldn't he?
That I would think so. Well, you know.
Yes, but yeah.
I don't understand racism in 2024. I get it. If you don't like folks, I'm all about voluntary. I'm a libertarian. You only want to hang out with other folks and y'all want to form a community. I'm all for it. You know, just you want to see something funny, go look at how many black towns are lakes now. Just Google how many black towns are lakes. It's more than you'd think, where they just couldn't get rid of the black towns, so they drowned them. It is not good for us. And does this mean that I'm the black libertarian? Am I a blackitarian? We got magatarians. We got Green New Dealitarians. I happen to be a constitutionarian, only I'm doing it the right way. You get all the rights everybody else got. Go forward with it. I'm not giving you any handouts. I'm not giving you any help up. If you're an immigrant coming in, come on in. I don't mind you in, but don't break any laws and don't expect a handout. If you want to apply a trade, go for it.
Hold on. AJ tells me I was right. He says 62% black Americans in Baltimore. 60%. I thought it was about 60%. 62%.
I live in PG County, so I know PG is about, I think it's 60-ish now. It used to be 75.
Someone told me that PG County is actually the blackest county in the country.
It is one of the most affluent black counties in the country. The different cities in it are constantly number one. I think someplace in Atlanta, someplace in New Orleans, and here is supposedly black excellence. And I found that to be so. It's also a democratic stronghold, and getting people. Sure. I've legitimately talked to folks who hate everything about this place. They were talking about moving and going to Ghana. And I'm like, well, what about trying to vote libertarian and fix it? Oh my God, libertarians are this and this. And I'm like, dude,
I'd rather go to Ghana than vote libertarian.
Then vote third party. That's why I'm not trying to change anybody's mind. I'm not trying to change anybody's politics. I do not care if you love Trump or you love Biden. What I'm trying to tell folks is, if you vote for blue or red, the same policies continue and your outcomes get worse and worse. What I'm saying is, if you're playing 3-card money and they're out there and they're stealing your dollars, what you do is flip the table and run, because they're pimps.
Yes.
They are pimping us. It's divide and conquer. You don't play the game, and the only way to play the game is a viable third-party option. And since libertarians are the ones that want to shrink government, they're the ones I mess with and have for the past 10, 12, 15 years, however long I've been in the party.
There we go. Joe says, Eileen, Constitutional Libertarian also. So you got some friends watching.
Good.
There we go.
Tell others. Because we got it. Okay, so everybody wants people to just fall over and make the sale immediately. And I was reading somewhere on Facebook, 97% of the time, folks aren't trying to make the sales. Folks aren't ready to buy. You get 3 to 5% of folks ready to buy today.
Yep.
I'm glad to have you here. Vote, but send it to everybody else because I'm on a seduction game. I'm trying to get you slowly. I want you happy. I want you to understand that what I'm preaching is freedom. And I'm going to tell you the truth. Don't believe anything I say. Go look it up. When I tell you that we have apartheid-like outcomes as Black folks in this place, it's true. When I tell you that as white folks in this place, if you guys got a 20-25% increase in your pay, life would be a lot better for you. Eliminate taxes. And then you could voluntarily give to things in your community and you can grow things. Voluntary giving isn't giving. That's some dude who will arrest me if I don't give. Ask Wesley Snipes. That man went to jail.
Yes.
Ask Al Capone. That man went to jail.
You and I talked about this before, right? Collectivism isn't bad as long as it's voluntary. People do it all the time. We do it in our families. We do it with church groups. We do it all the time, but it's voluntary. We can leave. We can stop. We can choose to. I think if you want to voluntarily put your money together to make something happen, or even to trust that your local church official, your local charity official will give your money to the right people because you trust them, give them your money. I don't have a problem at all.
I'm a fan. I've been trying to get my family to do it. I want to buy a big 100-acre plot of land somewhere, probably down in Brandywine. I want to put a few houses on it and have us be able to golf cart around because we got 5-6 people here. All of us are paying mortgages. All of us. It would be a lot more beneficial to put all that together. I'm saying it shouldn't be forced, and the federal government is too high a level to do it. That needs to be down towards the community. I mean, it's a Kwanzaa thing: unity, collective economics. Collective work and what was it, responsibility. All that stuff are Kwanzaa principles. And I used to laugh at them when I was young because they made up Kwanzaa. And the older I get, the more I see the wisdom in them. So
no, I'm with you. They did make up Kwanzaa, but Mike, tell you the truth, I didn't grow up on Kwanzaa.
No,
I did not grow up on Kwanzaa at all. I grew up on Christmas and not grow up on Kwanzaa. But my daughters wanted to do Kwanzaa. I was like, really? They went, yeah. I said, fine. So we've been doing Kwanzaa for years. Because my daughters like what you said. They like the idea of it. They like the concept. They like the conversations. They like the family part of it. They enjoy it. So I've been doing Kwanzaa for years because my daughters want to do it. I didn't grow up on it, but now I do it for them.
My auntie made me do it. My auntie made me do it initially, and I've been doing it every time since. We got a big blackboard. We write the different days. We talk about it, and I'm ruining these poor kids. They're gonna.
No, I actually went because I live in New York. So in Brooklyn is a large African community. Yeah. So I literally went to a Kwanzaa. There's more than one Kwanzaa stores in Brooklyn. There's more than one. So all our Kwanzaa stuff is literally from Africa.
That's beautiful.
Yes, we actually did. So just let me grab a couple more comments if I can. AJ says, yes, PG is the highest percentage in the US. I thought it was. I'm getting it right. Look at me. I'm getting it right here.
Gotta be up there.
Red Table Generate says people are so entrenched in the two-party system, and a lot have kind of given up and become apathetic at the way a lot of states have excluded third-party access. I think that's true. I think your friends who want to go to Ghana, they've given up, man. They've given up.
But what I don't get is if you've given up, why not try voting differently? Because I point out we do the same thing. And again, 93 to 5% aren't ready to buy. So you keep giving truth. You keep leaving breadcrumbs. But Ron Paul said it ages ago. He said, I have a perfect message and I'm an imperfect messenger. I, Mike Scott, am an imperfect messenger. And the message isn't exactly perfect either. But I don't care what your politics is. If you want smaller government and less taxes, I want no government and zero taxes, but I can't make that happen. So what I can do, I can get up there and I might be able to get rid of a couple 3-letter agencies. I mean, Maryland has a Department of Education. PG County has an over $2 billion public school district, PGCPS, over $2 billion a year. We probably don't need somebody at the federal level spending almost $50 billion a year and 4,500 employees to tell us test to X standard. That's probably 10 guys in a room twice a year, Yes, I completely agree.
And I can do that with a lot of those scores. How does a guy like you make impact, right? It's tough, right? It's difficult. Tough. It's challenging. I know I ran. I tried to make impact. Everyone else who's run out here, I know Joe, he's watching. He's run more than once trying to make impact. It is challenging. How do you plan to make impact in this race?
All I can do is get the word out. That's okay. Legitimately all I can do is get the word out and hope, because it's not up to me whether I win. It's up to everyone else. So all I can do is keep telling the truth and keep pointing out the things that are happening. Because I point to Ron Paul's 2003. Go read if you haven't watched it. It's 50 or so minutes from 2003 when he exited the floor. I came in like you with Gary Johnson. I was a Gary Johnson fan. He's the one that attracted me to the party, really. I voted Libertarian before, but he's the one who made me change the registration.
Yep.
All I can do is get the words out there and hope that something goes viral. Because again, all I want to do is shrink the government and then, get one term, maybe two if they ask real nicely. Because again, I loathe fundraising and I loathe politicking. But traveling across the state, getting the word out there, telling the truth, and showing the difference. But Larry Hogan just threw his name in. He's the Republican. He was a governor. People love Lockdown Larry. I don't understand how you do.
Lockdown Larry, I love that. Lockdown Larry.
The man legitimately closed the state. He closed the state and he said, if you want to keep your job as a state employee, take the damn jab. This isn't about your freedom. And people go, oh, those were mild inconveniences. And I look at him like, no, dude, when he had power, he chose to be a despot. And
he's a Republican.
He's a Republican. Oh, no, but he was the governor. We get every once in a while, like, you get a governor. We had Bob Ehrlich back in 2002. We had Larry Hogan. So every once in a while, they find someone who says the things they like and makes them feel all comfortable inside. And they go, this time it'll be different. Baby, you're in an abusive relationship with Republicans and Democrats. You are. You are in an abusive relationship. They don't love you, dude. They don't. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying I do, but my job is to leave you alone. My only job is to protect your individuality and your autonomy. Right. That's it. If I overstep that, I am making a mistake. I don't want power. I want to do the right thing.
I'm sorry, Tub. I want to call him Tub because I know Tub from Florida. He says, help spread the word for whoever might run after you. Oh, he brings it up also.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, what does success look like if I don't win?
Okay, let's ask that question. All right. So look, obviously, I hope you win. Clearly, I hope that happens. Yeah. The reality of it is, though, Larry Hogan is popular, right?
He's incredibly popular. And
he is very
popular. David owns Total Wine, and everybody loves getting drunk. So,
yeah, so it's
so he's going to be popular.
So what does it look like if you don't win? Or what is another form of victory? Or is there none?
One of the reasons why I get frustrated by the Libertarian Party, I looked around and I said, you know what? I'm trying to find other candidates who are running at Senate level. There's got to be other ones. There is no unity. There's very little unity. I'm trying to run as a block because MIKESCOTT, I'm 1% up there. I'm one vote out of 100, assuming I get in. But if you get 5, 6, 7 guys, you become a block. And if everybody forces it, it takes everybody to stand up and say, this is enough. We don't want anymore. I can stand up and do it. Aaron Bushnell stood up and did it. He set himself on fire. Holy crap. And he's like, just listen. And nobody's listening. And everybody's making fun of him. And we sit around having pleasant conversations, drinking coffee and having fun, while there are cats out there killing themselves. We have 80 countries, 700, 750 bases that we're willing to talk about. I'm not talking the U.S. funded labs that may still be doing gain of function testing.
Not may. Are. Yes, absolutely.
You want to know my favorite batshit insane conspiracy theory? My favorite one.
Well, hold on. Let me let you know. Joe says Florida has Fina Bonona running for U.S. Senate here. So there's one for you. I'm actually going to be.
Tell her, call me. I'm trying to get folks involved. Have her call me. I'm approachable. Have her hit me up. All you got to do is hit me on Twitter, hit me on the cell. It's listed on the website. I will talk to you. I will come up with a plan. We will travel and we will have some fun while doing it because it shouldn't be old lawyers running the country and fleecing us so that they enrich themselves and have gold bars hidden.
She is doing a fundraiser on April 12th and 13th. I will be part of it because she needs $10,000 to qualify. So I will be helping her to raise that money April 12th and 13th. So those of you who want to pay attention.
And
so
see
that
that
Libertarian lady, she says, you are in a bad relationship with Republicans and Democrats. I'm stealing that and putting that on a shirt. So there we go.
Give me a quarter every time you use it. Every time you sell one, give me a quarter.
That's good. I love that. That's good. So yes, and Libertarian lady says, I will message Fiend after this. So there we go. Already starting to come together.
Yeah, because if you come up with a block and it isn't just Don Quixote tilting at windmills, man. It's not one guy going, if there be giants. It's actually a movement that we say, hey, we're tired of this. I would love a constitutional convention. I mean, there's so many things that I want to do, and I keep arguing with my cousin because she's been doing real estate for 25, 30 years, and she asked me questions, and I'm like, I just want you to trust me on this, and she says I can't, so I have to explain it to her, but you'd have to be paying attention for years in order to know what's going on, because it's not a 15 or 30-second thing. You can't explain how constant war impacts your grocery bill if you don't trace it back and have the conversation. You can't.
Absolutely.
You can't talk about how Wes Moore, he actually tried to block automatic tax increases because the legislature voted automatic gas tax increases. He tried to block it. He's tried to do a couple good things. I'm not messing with him as a Democrat. I give folks credit where credit is due. And now he's trying to do, and I don't know if it's him, but it's going to increase what the sales tax can hit. So that's going to be one of the largest tax grabs in Maryland history, I understand. From what I understand, I haven't read
a very valid point here, and I do it too. Once in a while, Democrats, Republicans do something good. Once in a while, they do.
Broken clock.
Yeah, but when they do, I do give them credit. Like, I want to reward the good behavior. It doesn't mean I love them. It doesn't mean I want to vote for them. But I can say, hey, this thing that this person did was a good thing. It
was a good thing. Barack Obama allowed guns in national parks, from what I remember, and Trump took out bump stocks. So again, I'm trying to figure out which one is the anti-gun party and which one's pro. So I'm not trying to argue again politics. I'm just trying to say I don't care what your politics are. Understand that they're going to do whatever in the heck they want to do, because you just had Ketanji Brown. She just gave me the most fun immigrant could be armed argument I've ever had. That was awful. But then she flips around and says the First Amendment may hamstring government or frustrate government. I don't know whether I'm coming or going, guys. All I know is
yes, absolutely. So
all I know is we keep paying for this government.
Fast. Patty says, yes, I have said so many times to my Dem friends and few GOP friends, do you understand what an abusive relationship is? Why do you keep going back, making the same choice, and get beat up again and again? Perfect analogy.
It's
man, Mike, you have hit something with this, haven't you?
It's divide and conquer. They're pimps. Pimp by Iceberg Slim is on my bookshelf. It's divide and conquer. It's the old game. It's not the prisoner dilemma. It's that old game where they isolate you and they get you so afraid. That's why you have the two most repulsive candidates that they can find. You get either Hillary versus Trump or you get Biden versus Trump, because the other candidate on the other team has to be so abhorrent that you're going to vote for this guy no matter what he does. So 100% Hitler and 99% Hitler. I got to vote 99 because 100%.
Right.
No, dude. How about not voting for
Hitler? Right.
Yeah. So,
oh my God, that's terrible. Let me talk to my audience for a second. Guys, if you like what you're seeing, hearing, if you're listening to the podcast, do me a favor. Please click the like button. It does matter. If you're watching on Twitter, you can retweet this right now. Just retweet it. It's all good. Retweet it. Let people know what's going on.
Like it and share it and get the message out.
Get it out. Yes. Yeah. Put a comment on too. Put a little comment. Do all the things that matter. And please, if you want to, please follow Mike. You can go to his website directly at MIKESCOTT 2024, or you can follow him on Twitter. The link is actually on the description in both Facebook and YouTube, or his Twitter account is MIKESCOTT, the number 1 and the word. MIKESCOTT, one word.
And I'm terrible at social media because I loathe all of it. I quit during COVID. So the only thing I'm active on is Twitter now. And I'm trying to wean myself off that again because it's kind of addictive.
Don't do that. No, don't do that. Stay on it.
Stay on Twitter. Stay on Twitter.
Stay on one of them is all I'm saying.
I got to stay on Twitter because it's how to reach the most people. So, but
well, the thing about Twitter people don't realize is people are leaving Twitter, but you know who's not leaving Twitter? Politics and press. Politics and press stay on Twitter. A lot of regular people have kind of moved away. They've gone to Instagram or TikTok or something. But politics and press, they are on Twitter. And you can get access to political people and to press people on Twitter. I've done it more than once. So, in my opinion, stay on Twitter. Yeah. If you're running. If you stop running for office,
I'm on Twitter and I'm serious about running. But if I get the word out, and I get enough people excited about it, because again, you can't change people's minds. We still have people arguing Trump versus Biden in 2024. If you can't change people's mind and they're insistent on doing it, then getting the word out and maybe trying to do it for next time is the best you can hope for. But that's what we were doing in 2003 with Paul, and that's what we did in 71 when the party was founded. So my only win is to freaking win. And that's why I haven't really been doing things the old-fashioned way. I've been collecting data. I've been looking at it, and I've been trying to find a path. And Gary V, he's a wine merchant on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. He said the internet's flat. And if we can get the right audience and we can grab the right message, then maybe it'll go viral and we can impact some things. But right now I'm trying to get in schools to talk to the students because they love the message of liberty. But I legit can't get into schools because schools have to call and ask you in. You can call up an events person and you're like, hey, and they're like, well, who do you want to talk to? The school. This ain't high school. You can't just call up an auditorium. So we need young libertarians groups starting in the different schools. We need folks who actually believe that we can make a difference, because I'm not in this to play games. I'm in this to win, or I'm not wasting my freaking time. So if you want the same thing, keep doing the same thing. If you want to see change, be change, and vote Libertarian.
There we go. I like it. So let me ask, before we wrap this up, is there something that I've missed, something you want to bring up, some issue that you want to talk about before we wrap this up?
Some issue before we wrap this up. We talked about immigration. Why I'm not a bordertarian, why I don't like closed borders. So I have a nuanced position on that. I actually want kind of a Mos Eisley down south. I want a city built, because immigrants are labor. Some of those people that we have in jail, we got a bunch of public land. I don't believe in public land. Some of those people in jail for cannabis related crimes, since nobody said, let's give them some of that tax money we're stealing from the cannabis. Let's give them land and let's give them some equipment and some classes so they can actually build something down there that's sustainable. Immigrants can come in.
Hold on, I want to hear what I'm going to make sure I'm clear on this.
Build
something where? You're talking about on the
border?
I'm
talking about down near the border, actually building a small international free trade zone or city type thing. And you go, how long does that take? It's going to take years. Well, we got years. We've been doing it for years. And immigrants they can come in, they can learn English as a second language, they can ply a trade, everybody can work down there, you build a sustainable economy, and you got some place where folks are working, and it builds something. That's what libertarians do. We decide to build stuff. I don't know if that's the best way to go, but that was just the first idea that came to mind when all these folks are coming in. We got all these folks in jail, and everybody just wants a better life. That is one way to have a better life. I'm not saying it's the right way to go, but that is something that nobody's talking about. Because again, if I get my way, we're bringing home 1.3 million, the 1.3 million troops. We're going to pare that down a little bit, and we're bringing a bunch of them home. We're going to have a bunch of folks who are going to need work, and they're all coming back. And the current way we're doing things won't accommodate that influx of people either. So we have to have something for them to do. I'm still working on that one, but I really like the idea of building a border town and making it self-sustaining so that you can bring people in and you can figure out who's who, and we're not separating people and putting them in cages at the border. You know what I mean? We got to find a better way. Don't know what it is.
She says, Larry, you just keep giving me hope with all of these wonderful younger people. It is amazing to hear my words come out of people I've never met mouths. Thank you. Well, there we go.
She called me young.
She did. You were youngin', Mike. You didn't know that?
Yeah, thank you so much. Stop falling in love with me. Stop it.
There we go. You a baby. That's what happened. So yes. No. Okay. So if I hear what you're saying let them in, but let them go to a specific place to work.
Well, it's sort of a offshoot of what Chase Oliver's saying. He's saying like an Ellis Island type spot, but we don't have an Ellis Island type spot. So we need these people to be able to earn a living without giving them welfare. We need people to be able to, there's a lot of problems that solves. Because those people that are coming in, they're looking for jobs. They're looking for a better way of life. And a lot of them are coming in because of America's jacked up foreign policy and war on drugs, destabilizing their countries. That's the part they don't talk about either. So we've never had a closed border, and nobody's talking about closing the border in Canada, which, by the way, is porous and open. It seems to be more about.
I live in New York, and them damn Canadians keep coming across my border. Damn them,
doing whatever they want. Do whatever they want. Yeah. So
good. Joe Bobley, he loved it. He says Mos Eisley instead of Ellis Island on the border. LOL. That is cute.
Well, I mean, they keep saying it'll be a den of thieves if I let them build it. So
that's true. For those who don't know, Mos Eisley is a town in the original Star Wars, the first or the fourth, however you would say it. The first movie.
Yeah. A New Hope
movie. I'll say that. Yes.
Nerd cred.
Yes, a little bit of nerd cred there. Yes, we actually knew what that was. That was kind of funny. Some of you didn't know what that was, so I'm just letting you know that. Yes, it was a town, if I'm not mistaken, it was the first town that Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi went to. Is that right?
First town Luke and Ben went to when they showed the Jedi mind trick. You will not vote Democrat or Republican. You will vote Libertarians.
these are not the candidates you're looking for.
Yes.
These are not the candidates you're looking for. Absolutely. Yes. So Mike Voss is on. He asked, Mike, is this border town closed off from mainland U.S. to allow for vetting that should always happen?
This is just the idea, but when I had the vision for it, it was a walled town where, it would be a self-sufficient little city-state of its own with its, I hadn't finished out fleshing it out. I'm just saying we don't have any new ideas. And this is an idea that solves a whole bunch of problems we have. Just like a school, and we don't like public schools. If it has 50 classrooms, maybe leave 20 for the public school portion and rent the other ones out to people who want to run their own schools. And that rented portion goes to keep the lights on and keep the weeds and seeds being done. That's just an idea. I'm not saying I know everything. I'm saying I'm open to ideas to fix it. Just like to feed people. There's a guy named Chris in Baltimore. He's for my city too, I believe, in Twitter. This guy, for under $500,000, gives away as much produce as the Maryland Food Bank, for what I understand. And his entire budget is less than half of the top 4 execs of the Maryland Food Bank put together. And he's doing it all with donated food, all with reclaimed food that would have went to waste. He's got volunteers. He's got 5 employees. I am not saying don't feed the community. I'm saying the federal government, the state government may not be the way to do it. I'm saying there's ways to do it at community level that gets everything done. I am not saying be heartless. I'm not saying let mama starve. I am saying paying $1.2 million to 4 executives to run a food bank.
Got it.
There are better ways to do it.
There we go. Patty likes what I said. I'm getting a t-shirt too. See, not just you, Mike. I'm getting a t-shirt too. She says, well, I'm using that. These are not the candidates you're looking for. Making a meme and seeing if I can get my son to make the shirts. All right. We're both getting shirts after this show.
We're both getting shirts. We can get shirts.
All right, buddy. What I want to say is thank you so much for watching. Click that like button. It does matter. And please follow Mike if you would. Head over to his website, MikeScott2024.com, and follow him on Twitter at MikeScott, the number 1 and the word. So Mike
Scott, one word. That was a failed thing. Mike Scott, one word, all caps. It was going to be my go-to line.
There we go. I love it. So good. Guys, thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me.